Ladies and gents, 1997 Porsche Carrera S. I'm super excited because this is the 993, the last of the air-cooled. And back when I was a kid, so I'm 32 right now, I feel like a lot of people my age can relate. Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, this was the car. This was one of the coolest cars in that game. Super iconic styling, Arctic silver with these classic wheels. I mean, this is quintessential 911 to me, based on my childhood, based on what I love. Oh my goodness, I think this is one of the best looking 911s out there. Examples like these go for around $200,000 now. The C2S is the second most desirable version. It still retains actually the wide body from the turbo. You can see those thick hips, the turbo being the most desirable version. We have around 300 horsepower, 2,900 pounds. The owner has done a few choice modifications to this vehicle. And it's mostly restored now. 217,000 miles. This is actually the generation of 911. Got an immobilizer. There we go. This is the generation of 911 that almost put Porsche out of business, almost bankrupted them because they put so much R&D. I was shocked that this car straight up has, check this out, where's this door? There we go. Power seats, can you believe that? I mean, this interior is nice. It's obviously from the 90s, but it is definitely a nice place to be, very purpose-built. And I mean, I definitely prefer this over the 996, obviously. This is a great place to be, for sure. So modifications, we have upgraded exhaust from Darren Pfister, the Vario ram system, which is essentially German VTEC, if you will, front brace for added rigidity, and a short shift kit. This is the RS Goldenrod. And with that out of the way, let's see how she drives. No traction control, but we do have ABS. Floor-mounted pedals feel very strange, and also just the overall ergonomics and seating position. Like, I have big-ass size 13 shoes, and I also wear wide toe box, because, you know, it's just better for your foot health. But the actual pedal box here is really not ergonomic. Granted, harder for me because I have larger feet, but even if you have smaller feet, the pedals are really far to the right. The clutch is like right in the middle. So they got that a lot more dialed in with the 997 and especially the 991 actually. But these early generation Porsches, or rather earlier generation, the 911s and the Caymans, didn't have the ergonomics quite dialed in. Apart from that fixed steering wheel, it's in a good position though. I'm able to get comfortable here. The gear shift is quite low because the center tunnel is not very high up. A lot of character in this car already from the interior. Hard to heel toe with these floor mounted pedals. Hydraulic steering giving me a lot of feedback, which I very much appreciate. Although it's not, the ratio is quite slow and there's a bit of slop to it. I mean, this is a 217,000 mile vehicle, so keep that in mind. This is cool, guys. This is cool. Yeah, getting a lot of feedback through that wheel. Over the bumps, I know exactly what's happening in the front end. There we go. I'm really liking the feedback I'm getting from the wheel, but as I'm giving it the gas, you can feel the front end lighten up quite a bit. That rear engine with that weight distribution, this is before Porsche had really dialed that out. Brake pedal initially is, there's not much, then it eventually eases into a little bit of braking force. And then it requires higher effort as you push harder. Not super linear. You definitely feel that this is from the 90s. And these aren't necessarily problems. This is very cool. This is like the character of the car. I don't mind this by any means. Heel toe is still feeling very awkward with these floor mounted pedals. bumps as well, even without throttle input actually. But people love this generation because it's the last of the air-cooled. And you're getting a different character to the vehicle. It's not going to rip your face off with acceleration, not by any means. And today, especially, I've been fortunate to be driving some recent model GT3s and GT4s. This doesn't feel sluggish, but it's also not quite peppy either. This gear selector feeling nice and tight. I'm not sure what it would feel like without the short shift kit, but I can say with this, it feels very, very mechanical and much tighter than I would expect in a vehicle of this age. So I'm sure that aftermarket kit is doing quite a lot. A lot of body roll, as you can see, when I'm turning side to side. And same under braking, you can really feel the nose dive in. This isn't really a car that you want to be pushing it 8 or 9 tenths. This is more of the car that you're pushing maybe 6, and you're getting a lot of joy out of it. Or even just cruising, not even pushing it hard at all, you're going to get a lot of joy out of it. This is just a cool, old school kind of car. Brakes not inspiring that much confidence, so I'm getting on them a little bit earlier than I normally would. You know, for a car that has over 200,000 miles, you know, the creaks and rattles, they're not bad. They're not bad at all. And again, if you listen with binaural audio with headphones, we have binaural mics, so it's gonna make you feel like you're in the car with us. Yeah, I can really feel that front end lighten up a little bit. This is part of the charm of the car, though, because it teaches you and it encourages you to drive around that. The most fun and rewarding things in life don't come easy. They require a little bit of work, and rear-engine Porsches are kind of like that, at least the older ones, when they really make you feel that rear-engine bias, and the drawbacks are a little more apparent compared to the more recent generations. Red line right around 6,800 RPM. I'll tell you, it doesn't feel like 300 horsepower. It feels like it's making less than that. Again, remember guys, this is an older vehicle, so it probably is. I'm loving this car, but I gotta be honest, I don't feel comfortable pushing it as hard as a lot of other cars because, you know, it's older 911s have a reputation as well. They don't have traction control. Their rear bias, like, Porsche hadn't really dialed it out. And even just the inputs of this car, like the steering is very communicative, but you know, the brakes, not so much. The body roll, like you're getting a lot of motion, and it's a car that I think is super cool to be cruising with and push maybe 6/10, but maybe as you get more comfortable, as you put more miles on it, I've only been behind the wheel for, you know, fewer than 20 minutes. Maybe with more miles and more experience, you can feel comfortable going a lot harder in it. But this car is so cool, these 5 gauges here. The interior is super, super, super cool. I love this thing, man. One of those childhood dream cars. It's so cool to finally get behind the wheel. And, you know, nowadays, technology has come more than 2 decades since then. So the chassis tuning and stuff like that, you're not trying to have a super sharp, super focused driving experience. You're going for a little bit more raw and visceral and characterful. And I think this car does that in spades. However, if you are looking for something that's super dynamically competent, super, you know, rewarding at the limit, this is not the car for you. But again, big thanks to Fenton Sun for the Zygon YouTube channel for making this review possible. Big thanks to the owner for letting me review his beautiful 993. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on JubbalandCars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in the next one.